There's a very nice book called Sri Updesharamrit. This book has been presented under the title of Nectar of Instruction, and it was presented by a great sage called Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami at one time was running the most powerful, opulent kingdom on the planet, along with his brother. And then they gave up this assignment, and on the advice of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they came to Vrindavan, where they constructed temples, installed deities, and wrote volumes of literature presenting the summary of the Vedic conclusions. In fact, the literature left behind by the Goswamis of Vrindavan is so vast, probably just after the work of Vyasadeva. So this book, Sri Updesharamrit, only has 11 verses, but each of the 11 verses is very significant. So Rupa Goswami talks about 6 types of rasas amongst devotees. We are all devotees. Some may be more surrendered, some may be less surrendered, but nevertheless, anybody who comes to this temple, anybody who comes to the Sunday program, anyone who comes to the festival could be classified as a devotee. Of course, the different stages of devotion, just like in a medical school, you could say that all the students studying there are preparing to be doctors, but still you may have some who are in the first year, second year, some doing internal residency and so on. So similarly, the very fact that you come here, people come to Krishna due to different reasons. In the early days of our movement, many people would come just because they love the Sunday feast. And it's our experience all over the world, even in India, that at the lecture time you may have 600-700 people, and prasadam time you'll have double. So this is pretty much a universal phenomena. So I wouldn't be surprised if it holds true in Los Angeles also. Does it hold true in Los Angeles also? Yeah. So anyway, so people come due to various reasons. Krishna says in the 7th chapter of the Gita, people come to meet you to 4 reasons. One is who wants wealth. The other is one who is inquisitive. The third is a genuine seeker of knowledge. And the fourth is one who is in distress. But Krishna says, doesn't matter what the reason is, at least come to me. And if you come to me, whichever your motives are, you'll get purified. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, you read the story of a king called King Uttanapada. He was a king who had 2 wives. One was called Suniti, and the other was called Surichi. And through these 2 wives, he had 2 sons. Suniti had a son called Dhruva, and Surichi had a son called Uttama. So, one day, Dhruva saw that his co-brother, Uttama, was sitting on the father's lap, and he tried to sit on his father's lap also. His stepmother, Surichi, was very envious of him. She could not tolerate the king giving her any sympathy. So as a young child, tried to sit on his father's lap. The stepmother pulled him down and said, "You can't sit on your father's lap. You haven't taken birth from my womb. First, you should have the mercy of the Lord. And then when you take birth from my womb, then you'll be eligible to sit on your father's lap." In other words, what she was suggesting is, first you die, and then take your birth again from my womb, and then you'll be able to sit on your father's lap. Now, in a normal situation, the king should have protested. The king should have said, "Oh, he's also my son. Let him sit." But it appears that the king was, using modern language, henpecked. So the king was too attached to Surichi. So he just kept quiet. He didn't say anything. As a result, The boy felt greatly offended, sobbing. He went to his mother. In the meantime, the palace workers had also heard the harsh word that Surichi had spoken. And they had already informed his mother how your son got insulted by Surichi. So the boy came crying. The boy was very sad. He was a young boy, only 5 years old. Still, he had royal blood, so he felt very offended. And he said, is there anyone who can help me? And she said, I've heard that God can help you. Of course, God can help everyone. And where can God be found? In the jungle, Madhuvan. Vrindavan at one time was a place full of forests, isn't it? Vrindavan. It was just forest. But today if you go to Vrindavan, what do you see? The opposite. The forests are all gone. All you see is a concrete jungle. And if you go to Govardhan, you even find a golf course there now. Some enterprising builder has built a golf course. Vrindavan is a place where you go to for practicing renunciation, not to play golf. But unfortunately, civilization today has got so degraded that they've lost any concern for values. So anyway, he went to Madhuvan. He was preparing to go to Madhuvan. And as he was preparing to go, the sage Narada appeared on the scene. Narada is also known as Trikalagya, one who knows past, present and future. So Narada Muni wanted to test the boy. Just like in our Krishna conscious movement, if somebody wants initiation, he's tested. He has to go through a certain training program during which the candidate is observed to see if he's fit or not. So now the Muni wanted to see how serious is this candidate. So he said, young boy, you should not be offended by the words of your or the words of your stepmother. She was just joking. You're a young kid. Go and play. This is not the age to look for God. Of course, some of us believe that it's never the time to look for God. Dhruva was, of course, 5 years old. But today you live in a society, and I personally witnessed it, that even if a 60, 70-year-old man wants to come and chant and become God conscious, what do his relatives say? So early? Is this the time to look for God? Now's the time for you to babysit your grandchildren. You know, the first babysit their own children, and then now's the time to babysit your grandchildren. Okay, so when is the time to look for God? When should be appropriate time? When you're half blind, half deaf, lame, you have Parkinson's disease, no one wants to be next to you. That's the time to look for God. So that is the selfish viewpoint. You turn to God when you have nothing else to do and no one wants anything off you.